My name is Vale. I'm your friendly neighborhood succubus, and today I'm going to teach you how to skeb. Firstly, what is Skeb? Skeb is a Japanese website that allows users to commission artwork and voiceovers from artists who are overseas. I've personally never commissioned voice work on Skeb, so today we are solely going over commissioning art pieces, but some things can carry over. Skeb is one of those things that, once you know how to do it, it's as easy as Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V. There are some things to note though before I teach you how to comb your first Skeb. You've probably heard the term Skeb-like on places like Twitter or VGen. That is a term that came from Skeb. Reason being is because on Skeb there is no communication between artists and commissioners. Once you send your request and it's approved, you only wait for the artist to deliver. There are no whips or communication, which is a downside. Skeb is often referred to as a blind bag or a mystery box. For a cheap price, the artist gets to draw what they want. Yes, you can send them references for a background, pose, and make your request very detailed, but per Skeb's TOS, the artist doesn't have to follow that. Though, in my case, I've had my artist follow my directions, and if they simply didn't want to do the request, they just won't accept it. It's a very easygoing platform for the artist to just draw. And that's the fun for the commissioner. If you're not looking for anything too specific, you can throw an artist your reference and have them do what they want. Sometimes that's where your best pieces come from. Sometimes it even says before typing out your request that that specific artist likes creative freedom, so to keep your request a little less detailed. Now that that's out of the way, let's write up your first request. So, before you submit a request, you're going to want to add a payment method. So, head over to your user page. Over here, you want to click on user page. Go to your account. And then once you're here, you're going to want to scroll down until you see credit card. Skeb does not use PayPal. They just use credit card information. You're going to want to click open and it will allow you to submit your credit card credentials. So, once you got your payment details all figured out and sorted, you're going to want to maybe check Twitter, see if you can find a Skeb artist that you like, or the Skeb homepage, and if you see an artist that you like, you're going to want to head over to their page. And the most important thing you're going to want to see if they're in your budget is this area right over here where it says new request, following, or follow if you don't follow the artist yet. And recommended amount. So the recommended amount for this artist is 9,000 yen. 9,000 yen roughly estimates to $60 USD. Recommended amount just means that was the average price for the most recent request that they have done. So if that looks good to you, you're going to want to go to new request. Sometimes before this page pops up, you are going to want to click a genre if the artist does something more than just artwork. But you're going to want to click on genre and then select which genre you want. In this case, it's artwork. It'll autofill the amount of yen that you are going to be paying, and you get a little text box. Let's head over to how I wrote up my request for this artist. Now, there are a couple ways you can write up your request. This is how I feel comfortable for my more specific requests, if I want it to be more detailed. But if you're kind of not looking for anything too specific, you can just give the artist your reference, give them a little summary of your character, and submit a request like that. But assuming you want something more specific, it goes the same way. I said, hello, I love your dark art style, and I submitted a Twitter link from their Twitter. Same goes for on Skeb. If there is a specific artwork you like, you can copy the link to that and put it in as one of the first things so they know that you liked that artwork specifically, and they will kind of reference that when doing your piece. How I like to do my references for my Google Drive, which you will need a Google Drive. Another very important thing about these Google Drives is you want to make sure that the artist can view them. So the Google Drives are going to start off as non-viewable. So you want to head over here to the little share icon. You want to make sure that it's from restricted to anyone with a link can see. You want to make them a viewer, press done, and then go back and copy the link. This allows the artist to not get Donawald and they'll be allowed to access these pictures. What you're going to want to do is submit all of your references, put them in a Google Drive, and I like to label them in numbers because it's a little easier to translate. So for my references, I usually leave them as 0. All the zeros are my just model references. 1 will be my mascot, 2 was my pose here, and 3 was a room reference. So here I kind of listed those references again, so they're easier to look back on further down in the request. So 0 are my references, 1 is my mascot, 2 is the composition, and 3 is her room reference. Then I kind of give a summary of my character. She is a shy but easily flustered succubus. She loves Monster Energy. She has eye bags and likes to stay in her room playing video games. And the back of her head is a ponytail. Now, since this is a little more detailed request, the composition I said, please draw Veil at a desk like shown in O2, which in O2 is this one. Holding her mascot Marble, which we have a reference for. Please add cans with Monster Energy around her and make her desk gothic in a 16:9 or a 16:9 ratio. Now, if you want a specific ratio, please mention it, or else they will kind of just do whatever ratio fits best for them. So again, if you want anything specific, you will have to write everything out in this one request, because since there is no communication, you cannot reach out to them on, say, Twitter and be like, hey, I forgot to add something, because that is not allowed. You could get in trouble by Skeb with doing that. For usage is another very important thing to write. You want to make sure you know exactly what you want to be doing with this artwork. So I usually say to post on social media and Twitch, to produce mouse pads and goods. So goods will translate to merchandise. I will credit your name, and I would like the character, background, and signature layers separated. The reason why you want to ask for the layers separated is because when you get the artwork, you are going to get the art with a thank you, with a little signature. So to make sure you can separate the signature from the rest of the art, you will want the PSD, that's what that is asking for. Then I usually say thank you, and thank you for the consideration, because again, they don't have to accept the request with the Google Drive. Now, that written up in the request page will look something like this. So you're going to want to format it however you want, just as long as you get your references across and what you want, explaining your character a little bit. This is just how I like to format it. I wanted to look over one more of my requests just to show you that it doesn't have to be that complicated either. So here I got a Skeb for one of my friends, Rem, and I said, hello, I love your art. I love the art you did for my friend Rem. I would like to get art done for her birthday coming up. So again, with the same format of the numbers in the Google Drive, I did Rem and like a reference of a cake. And I said, please draw Rem holding a cake in any pose you'd like. The usage for it, and that's it. Have a lovely day. No crazy asks, no crazy requests. It's just, I love the art you did for my friend. Can you do another one for her? The references, and that they can do any pose that they like. So it really could just be as simple as that, which is what I wanted to say before we continue. With your reference URL going here, which usually is a Google Drive, but you could use anything to get a picture across. Now for down here details, NSFW is off. You can see here if an artist accepts NSFW work, this artist does not. Usually I leave these alone, but you can submit an anonymous request. You can also submit a hidden request, which a hidden request is it hides the Skeb on the creator's page, but that doesn't mean they can't post it on Twitter. Addressee, they could address it to Veil. That's just the name that they use when they're writing their thank you. And then a confirmation, making sure you understand the contract, which I highly suggest you read Skeb's TOS before you submit. And then payment. Once you hit confirm, it will bring you to another page to confirm payment. Another thing I suggest doing before you fully submit your request is copy and pasting your request into a translator, which Skeb uses Deep Translate. So I usually use this website to then copy and paste my request into the translator. I copy the translated version because Skeb will automatically auto-translate if you allow it, which I do suggest allowing it to do so. Pasting it back into the translator, and then reading it, seeing if it makes sense translated. So seeing that it makes sense translated, you are going to want to go ahead and just submit it. And that would be your first request. Now, once you first submit your request, you are going to head over to your request page and it will either show up in draft or pending. If it shows up in drafts, that means either the payment method didn't go through and you can hold it, or it has to be approved by management, which if it's approved by management, there was maybe say a keyword you put in that they just need to double check. 90% of the time they will approve it, and if they don't, you can always just tweak your wording and submit it again. Once it hits pending, which you'll see status pending, the addressee, it has all your information here. So it'll tell you when it was sent. It'll tell you the approval deadline, which the approval deadline is if the artist doesn't accept your request by this time, you will get a refund because Skeb automatically takes the money out of your account. And then the completion deadline, which is when they are expected to complete your artwork. Again, if they go all the way to the completion deadline and your work is still not delivered, you get a full refund. So that was how to make your first request on Skeb. Like I said, some things carry over. You can always copy and paste depending on what you want, depending on what you need. Sometimes you could even use the same Google Drive. It really, really just depends. But I do hope this video helped. If you have any more questions, please leave them below and I will answer them to the best of my ability. With that being said, be careful. It is addicting. I've gotten addicted to commissioning Skebs. So yeah, it's really easy. Once you get the hang of it, like I said, it's as easy as copy and pasting. So yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys learned something new and I will see you next time. Bye bye.